feel that way. 571-2428, 571-CHAT, because you know what I'm talking about, don't you? I mean, it's just we would rather hurt than our children hurt. And when our children do hurt, we hurt doubly bad. And so I know that there are some of you out there who really struggle celebrating Father's Day. You really struggle with it. And maybe you weren't fortunate enough yet to have that substitute in your life, that compensation from the Lord. I pray that you will one day. I pray that you will. I pray that if you were one who didn't have that stability of a good father in the home, that you married into a great one. And if he's, about the same as your dad, then I pray that, the Holy Spirit will touch his life and that he will become one of those great men. And you guys out there, listen, I'm going to open the phone lines for you all because I told you, tag your it today. You're going to have to be my Father's Day show for me, because I don't want men to go away thinking that we, had this great tribute to a mom, even though, I know I focus on my mother, but I think my mother probably epitomizes most every mother, because we persevere. That's just what we do for our children, or we should. But I want you to be the filler for this today, because quite frankly, I can't produce it. And so don't put me in that spot today. I'm asking you to help me out today. And you call, and so you tell me, what are some admirable traits of a dad? What are some admirable traits of a dad? And maybe your dad only had one that really sticks out to you that you want to share. Maybe he has several that really stick out to you that you would like to share. Or maybe you are a dad and you know what, Joyce, I do this very well for my children. It is a time for you to be braggadocious, dads. I love it. I want you to toot your horn. I believe that we have put men down enough in this culture, and these sitcoms that we see that demean men, emasculate them, make them buffoons. I'm done with it. Aren't you? I mean, you have value in the home, and I don't like what they're doing to the dad figure on our TV series and even in the movies. I don't like it. Maybe you share those same sentiments. 571-2428, 571-CHAT. But you just call. What are some admirable traits of a dad? Maybe you share my sentiments about the sitcom. Whatever you want to talk about today. If you want to share a story about your father. And I love hearing those stories. Believe you me, you don't want to hear my stories. You really don't want to hear my stories. Not on a day where we're being upbeat about fathers. And I'm going to put Gary on the spot, so he's going to have to come up with a really good story about his dad. I'm sure he's got one that he could share. But you do too. And you don't have to struggle. And listen, if you're a kid out there, I know that school's out. If you want to call in and give your dad a shout out, you do that. You just tell him how much you love him right here on Just Ask Joyce today. All right? And wives, let me tell you something. If you have a good man and he's a good father, shame on you if you don't pick up the phone and call and give him a shout out. Today is his day to be honored and recognized right here before all the people in Kentuckiana that is listening this hour. And they can go back and listen to the podcast. 571-2428, 571-CHAT. Call right now.
WFIA, The Spirit.
Now that the weather has been more conducive to opening the windows, I'm reminded of how much I love my Window World windows. With the greatest of ease, I gently lift and ta-da, my windows are open. With my other model windows, I had to push and bang and struggle and sometimes had to wait on the hubby to open them for me. But not anymore. Oh, and did I mention they're beautiful? I'll stand by that guaranteed. Call Window World today, 502-671-7777. That's 671-7777. And visit them online at windowworldlouisville.com.
Looking back on the Nye-Ham debate. This is Ken Ham, author and speaker on science and the Bible's authority. It's been a year since my well-known debate with Bill Nye, and we've seen a huge impact as a result. When I agreed to debate Bill Nye the Science Guy, my goal was to share the gospel, and I did, with a national audience of millions. Now, an interesting thing happened after the debate. Secularists actually use the debate for fundraising purposes, using Bill Nye's claim that he, quote, overwhelmed Ken Ham. But to my knowledge, these secularists never made the debate available to their supporters. You'd think that they would want everyone to see how I was supposedly overwhelmed. Secularists know that science does not support evolution in millions of years, but they want people to believe it does. The Bible's history is true.
Want to know more about the age of the earth? Visit our faith-building website to learn how science confirms the Bible's history at answersingenesis.org.
Do you have a family member who's getting older and can no longer be safely left alone? With Visiting Angels America's Choice in Senior Home Care, your parents and older family members can continue living at home and not have to move into a nursing home. Experienced, compassionate caregivers provide assistance in hygiene, meal preparation, and light housework up to 24 hours per day at affordable rates. To restore your family's peace of mind, call Visiting Angels toll-free today at 877-374-LIVE or at visitingangels.com.
Almost 4 in 10 high school seniors in Kentucky don't fill out the free application for federal student aid, the FAFSA. We asked students why that is.
I honestly have no idea what the FAFSA is.
At my high school, they don't really talk about the financial aid or FAFSA for that matter.
Filling out the FAFSA is the first step to getting your share of $150 billion in financial aid. And it just got easier. Visit knowhowtogoky.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by the Pritchard Committee Student Voice Team and the Council on Post-Secondary Education.
This is Bob Birdie, and I want to invite you to what is being called the greatest night ever. The Tuesday night session of the Southern Baptist Annual Convention will be entirely devoted to prayer, and I have the privilege of hosting a recap of this powerful evening. Don't miss this incredibly significant event that will be aired on this station as a result of a partnership between the Southern Baptist Convention and the Salem Media Group.
Listen right here on WFIA Saturday noon to 2 and Sunday 1 to 3. You're listening to Just Ask Joyce on WFIA, The Spirit.
I guess it's a pretty sad affair for dads today. Is this our tone for dads? Silence? Is silence? No one has a story about their dad. No one has a shout out about their father. I mean, really? Guys, 571-2428. We can do better than this. Am I shaming you into it? You bet I am. Because, I didn't have fodder for you today. I'm banking on you bailing me out because, I couldn't bring good, uplifting stories to you. And we want to honor fathers today. Now, this is as good as we can get. Shame on us. 571-2428. Pick up that phone. You can do this. 571-CHAT. I will not bark at you. I won't, I'll be pleasant like I always am. All right. But we are going to hear from Gary. He's got a little story to tell. All right, Gary. So, I'm just kind of tossing it out to some admirable traits of dads. And so what are some of those that you remember about your dad?
Well, one of the things I remember the most about my father is I have one brother, and my father passed away back in 2004. He was 79 years old. And the one thing I can remember about my father was he had a great work ethic. And both me and my brother are the same way too. And probably one of the best things my father ever did for both me and my brother, and he was not very affectionate at all.
Right.
He, would barely hug you. And that would only be on Christmas and New Year's.
Oh, yeah. Well, he kind of felt like he had to. It's kind of like going to church those days.
Yeah, and my mom was exactly the opposite, so now I'm kind of in between. But this happened when I graduated from high school, and my brother's 3 years older than me, and my father owned his own company, and he owned it for years, and he was making money with it, but he could see that the profits were going to start going down because of a lot of the expenses of running this business were starting to go up. Like we had the energy crisis in 73, and gasoline went up, and he wasn't making as much money. So the day I graduated from high school, he called me and my brother into his office, and he said, okay, and he says, this is a time that I want you to be totally honest with me. Don't tell me what you think I want to hear. I want to hear what you have to say. He says, I have an offer now to sell this business. And he says, and it's a pretty good offer. And he goes, as a matter of fact, I'm going to sell the business. I'm going to buy a farm, and I'm going to go back to farming. And basically, he said he was going to farm for fun, but he made money on the farm,
Sure.
And he said, now, if you and your brother want to continue running this business, I will hand it over to you. But he goes, I've always got the feeling that neither one of you liked doing this, although we worked for him, and we worked hard. But we didn't like the business because it was a rendering plant. And we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
So we told him, we said, okay, you're going to sell it? Great. That means we can do whatever we want to do. He goes, no. He says, I want you two to do something that you like to do so that you will look forward to getting up in the morning, which kind of told me he was getting really tired of the business. And he said, and I'm going to tell you one more thing. He says, after this business is sold, he said, any money that's left over, you're not going to get until after I die.
Just in case you were wondering.
Yeah, and this was in 1975 when he told us this. And, of course, he passed away in